Hello, everyone. Welcome. So, I am Rosetta Freer. I am currently operating Crowning Your Essence as an individual who's here to support the process of living and exploring this thing called life. And I assist this space, so I assist individuals and also small groups, businesses, and I assist you to be the best that you are. And I help you see and discover and empower you to honor what you are. Because I believe that a lot of us are living in this life and so many different things going on right now. And we're living in this life where we are scared, traumatized, um, just so many different things in so many different ways that are not always positive. And one of the things that I'm really focused on right now is preserving peace. I remember as a little girl, I used to watch the pageants. You all know about Tyra Banks' modeling show, and I used to watch these pageants and stuff. And I always would hear the it was like a taboo saying, or it was like a joke was made out of it. But the whole thing where individuals would go up to the stage and they would say, "I want to have world peace." But at some point in my life, I really believe we can have world peace. I believe that when we are in a space and we're operating in our best self and we're operating from a space of truth and we're operating from a space of love within ourselves, like basically taking care of ourselves, I believe that we can do that. I believe that we can make things better for our journey. And in that space of making things better for our journey, our understanding of our journey, we can also influence other people to be peaceful within themselves. So that's one of the biggest things that I'm really keying in on is how do we preserve peace within ourselves? And having peace within yourself really allows you to exude peace unto others. And that's my greatest focus. That's my greatest purpose. But without further ado, I would like to bring to you every Monday the People's Choice. And this is where I will answer questions provided to me by several different individuals, my followers, supporters, whatever the situation is. I will definitely be bringing you questions provided to me by them, by you, and I will be answering them. I don't know all the answers. I will be the first to tell you, I don't know all the answers, okay? I don't. I don't. No one knows all the answers, but I do believe that every living soul, every living essence in this realm has access to all the answers, which is a huge difference. We have access to all the answers, meaning once you begin seeking and once you begin asking questions, you have the ability to access those answers because they will be provided to you. No matter what you believe, I believe that if something is in your heart, because we are made for something that we truly cannot understand, I believe that we have access to the same level of creation. So, without further ado, I will be bringing to you every Monday. So, don't worry if you're just now catching this on live or you're catching this as a replay. Do not worry. I promise you, I will be here every Monday giving you questions and telling you my answers. And these questions are not my questions. These questions are coming from people who follow me and support me. And I am so excited. So before I go into the question space, I want to tell you who I am because this is the first live and I am continuing this space every Monday. So I want to introduce myself a little bit to relax this space and this environment to welcome you in. I want to say first and foremost, thank you for allowing me into your mindset, allowing me to speak to you. Thank you for receiving whatever it is that I have to say today. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for following me. I'm truly grateful for all the love that I've received from releasing the notion that my book is being published November 11th. And I'm super excited. So thank you all to the pre-orders that have really just been grateful for the process and the opportunity to come to a book signing. And I'll talk about that a little later. But I'm Rosetta Greer. Another name that I'm transitioning to is Rosetta Empowers. I had individuals tell me that it was like it didn't make sense to call myself Rosetta Empowered. So if you know anything about rappers sometimes have these different names that they create for themselves that are not always their true names that were given to them by their straw man name, so to speak, or their name given to them by their parents. So I like to identify with Rosetta Empowers. Why? Because I am all about empowering you. You are so important to me because I believe that as you continue to be your best self, as you continue to discover your true self, not just being your best self, but discover your true self. That's the ugly, the bad, the good, and the indifferent. I believe that you deserve to be empowered every step of the way. You deserve to be empowered every step of the way. And I want to empower you. So, another name that I'm creating for myself, my stage name, so to speak, or the name that I feel that is divine and properly in order for who I am, is Rosetta Empowers. So, you may identify me as Rosetta Empowers. I would love for you to do that because one day it will be Rosetta Empowers. So, with that being said, I mean, we could talk about the last names on another day, but we're not going to talk about last names today. Just remember this term, straw man names. So I will eventually become, instead of Rosetta X, Rosetta Empowers. But that is who I am, Rosetta Empowers. I'm here to empower you. You deserve to be empowered because you're beautiful. You have a beautiful soul. No matter how ugly you've been, no matter how ugly you've experienced things that were just so chaotic and traumatizing to your life, I I trust in my heart and my essence that you are still beautiful and there's light in every single soul that dwells in this realm. I have this belief that the way we look at the stars, the way we look at the galaxy, it looks like light, right? When you look at the stars, Saturn or Jupiter or these different planets, so to speak, or even the other galaxies that we may not have identifications for them all, they look like balls of light. So I like to kind of put myself in different perspectives. I believe that in order for us to truly understand our perception, we have to be okay with formulating a perspective. And I believe that a perspective comes through having the perceptions of many people. So one of the things I like to do is I like to believe that if Jupiter looks like a star or a ball of light to me from this earth, I like to imagine what we look like to Jupiter. So if you were standing on Jupiter, Earth may in fact look like a star to Jupiter. So to me, I feel we're all light, stardust. You've heard these terms before. If you haven't, I suggest you really take a dive into understanding what is stardust, what is light. It's not light is not always positive or negative. Light is just what it is. It's prevalent. It's seen. It's resilient. It's bright. It's strong. I'm surrounded by light right now, and that's one of the things that I like to focus on. So because I believe that to Jupiter I look like light, the Earth. That means I'm just a small particle, little bitty speck that as I'm visualized from the perspective of other planets, if there were life there, right? We look like a ball of light. So that means Rosetta is only a speck of dust, stardust, compared to the entire spectrum of the earth. So, with that being said, I believe that every single soul has a light within them. I'm not here to deal with your human, if that makes sense. I'm here to speak life into your spirit. I'm here to speak life into your soul. So that's who I am. I believe in peace. I believe that once we have peace within ourselves, we can exude that peace and we can inspire, encourage, and empower other individuals to find peace within themselves. And I also believe that we should not judge our journey according to other people's journey, but judge it against what we feel within our gut, what we feel within our spirit, what we feel within our heart. That's what I believe. So I'm going to answer these questions. I have a list of questions, but because of timing and because I want to be able to provide good content to you every Monday, so look forward to the Mondays. It's going to be often. Every Monday, I'm going to dedicate giving you time and giving you some responses to these questions that I received from my followers and my supporters. So I appreciate you all for being here. And I promise you I won't have a long-winded introduction in the future. I just wanted to kind of break the ice a little bit because this is new. This is something that my spirit has been calling me to do. A lot of people know me in a business world as a business coach. A lot of people know me as a life coach, a spiritual counsel. A lot of people have these different titles for me, but I'm really nothing because I believe I'm everything. I recently wrote a post that said, I may not be designed for everyone, but I must be ready and willing to assist every and anyone. That's what I believe. So I'm going to start with these questions. And if y'all have questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. You may also send me a text to 423-521-5848, or you can send me an email to to info@crowningyouressence.com to get your questions answered. These questions are general questions provided to me by my followers and supporters, and I'm going to attempt to answer them. So remember, I don't have all the answers. Your answers may be different from mine, and that is okay. All I ask is that you accept my truth for my truth, and that this is my journey, and my journey is not yours, as I will continue to honor that your journey is not mine. I hope and I speak that I inspire you and empower you today to be able to connect with who you are on a deeper level. So I have a lot of questions, and this is my little journal, and I'm going to ask these first questions to you. And of course, we'll save some of these questions for the next shows and for the next one and the next one. But I'm going to answer 4 questions today. So every Monday, I answer 4 questions. So, question 1. Someone asked me, how do I know what my calling is? How do I know what my calling is? Well, I really love this question. So thank you, Phoenix, for asking me this question. How do I know what my calling is? If I would like to bottle this very complex but yet simple answer, I would say it's the thing that drives you the most every day. What are you so passionate about, or that you can't get out of your mind? Those things that just constantly in the back of your mind. Or we're not talking about, the deadlines and what you have to do with work, or what you have to do with your business or company, or what you have to do with your kids, your husbands, partners, mates, wives. We're not talking about those type of passions, because we know you care about the people you love. We're talking about those burning passions that's in the back of your mind when you're lying in the bed, when you're sitting on the couch, when you're watching the TV, those things that really just make your gears run, and you're so interested. You're so like, oh my gosh, you're exploring, you ask questions about it. That is how you know what your calling is, because typically what I found in my experience, sometimes we run from our calling because we've been placed in a world, especially if you're in America. Now, there are other countries that are very similar to America, and it has some of the similar constructs, but America has this different vibrational energy on it because of the way it was constructed in the first place, right? And when I say constructed in the first place, I'm talking about the historical context of America, okay? So America has a history. And we live in a place, they call it the melting pot. They call it a place where everyone comes to follow their dreams, the land of the free. And I will be honest with you, in comparison to so many other countries, whether they have little perks, pros, or cons, the United States of America is very different from most countries in this world. And we live in a place where when we're born into this Western world, we're born into conditions and limitations. And usually those conditions and limitations drive us towards the journeys of other people's dreams and not the journeys of our dreams, right? So I want to encourage you and tell you that one of the ways you know your calling, especially if you are in America, is one of those things that you constantly hear people tell you. Oh, you're so good at talking, or you're so good at drawing, or if you hear this consistent space, because typically we doubt our true essence because of where we are brought into. Even if you're brought into any other space in this world, we are brought into conditions of those who came before us. They impose their ideas and beliefs on us. And I'm not against of any ideas or beliefs, because I have my own, but I also understand that when you impose what you believe and how you see the world onto the future generations, which are children, you tend to box them in from who they are. So I'm all about nurturing and cultivating the desires of my children's hearts. So I always pay attention to things like, what do the child loves the most, or what do you love the most? What are you most interested in? And you just feel good doing it. I feel good talking to you, loving on you. I feel so good making people feel good. Not that I'm a people pleaser. I'm a soul pleaser. I'm a person that likes to enlighten you, to connect with your soul, to your essence, to really dive into who you are, to discover all that you are, to really take off those shells that have been placed on you by your fathers and mothers, or the parental guides that you had. So for me, she said, how do I know what my calling is? I want to tell you, here's a simple answer. You can't stop thinking about it. You can't stop desiring to do it. You can't get away from it. Have you ever moved around job to job, or move around city to city, and it's just every time you end up there, you end up in the same situation that it's pulling you towards, because that is very tricky when it comes to your calling, because it depends on where you are in your mindset. You have two type of people. You have people who are ready to receive, and you have people who aren't ready to receive. So just because you aren't or are ready to receive does not mean it's your calling. Let me say that in more simple terms. I remember when I was a little girl, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, a CEO. In fact, I learned the word entrepreneur when I was 11 years old, and I could not stop talking about this word. I could not stop talking about how I would be an entrepreneur and I would do this, do this, do this. But I actually went to school so I could work for some private psychologist company, like some company that deals with psychology, because I went to school for psychology. I was going to work for someone, and then I was going to work towards getting to the executive board of that company. That was my dream. But I also remember that when I was a little girl, I also said I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So sometimes we may take paths that takes us away from our true desires. And it doesn't mean that it's not for you. I was running from my desires. I really was. I was like, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur and work for someone else. And every time I worked for someone else, I realized how much I did not want to work for someone else. And then you have this other situation where you know it's your passion. Say, for example, you're an artist and you love drawing. You can have the gift of painting or drawing, and you know this is something you're designed to do. But for some reason, you just call it a hobby. It's just a hobby. You know, I really work for an executive board, or I work for this top place in this company, or I work for this really amazing job with great benefits. But all along, every time you're at work, every time you're at home, every time you get a moment to yourself, you're painting and drawing. Perhaps that is your calling because it helps you. And I believe that we have the power to monetize our gifts. We try to shun that it's not okay to monetize your gifts. But if this world vibrates off currency and exchange, and this is how we move with the dollars or whatever the currency is, why not monetize off something you love doing? So one of the ways I knew that it was my calling is, for one, I love to talk. Okay. I love talking, and I'm okay with that. And I also love loving on people. I love giving the best of myself to people. In fact, I won't even come before you if I'm not at my best. I'll hibernate and I'll take time for myself, and I'll consult with my tribe, my partner, or whoever it is that I want to just let all my emotions out on. And I'll disappear from you, the world, so I can get me together, because I love you that much that I don't want to impose that energy on you, because I believe I have a tribe that can take my frustrations and my traumas, my dramas, my pains, and not you. And that was me. I love you so much that I care about what you are doing. I care about how you're living your best life. And to be honest, I just encourage you that if you found yourself constantly thinking about something, stop thinking and do it. Okay? That's your calling. If you know you're meant to serve someone, if you know you're meant to love on people, be a speaker, a teacher, a preacher, whatever your situation may be, I'm encouraging you to do that, okay? So that's the first question. How do I know my calling? It's not simple, but I will tell you it's something you can't get away from, and it's always in your face. You're always presented with it. That's how you know it's your calling, okay? So another question that I received, and I really want to answer this question because I think it's so important. I had a lot of situations throughout my journey, and I say I've been on this journey of awareness for 7 years. It's a difference. I've been on this journey of life for 30 plus years, but I've been on this journey of awareness, meaning I was actually aware of who I was, what I was doing, I was synchronizing with this space. If you pre-ordered a copy of my book, Seven Realms of Ascension, a journey. I'm sorry, Seven Realms of Ascension from Religion to Spirituality. You quickly find out a lot of the things that I'm kind of sharing with you today. But truthfully, this question is a big deal because I've been challenged in this space a lot. I've been challenged in this space, and I was ridiculed and I was made fun of, and I felt as if I didn't belong to who I am. But now I'm okay. I'm in a space where I know who I am. But this question is by Phoenix also. Is everyone qualified to teach? What should we know about being a teacher or leader? The responsibilities, sacrifices, etc. So this is a three-part question. I'm going to start with the first question. Is everyone qualified to teach? My first answer is no, and my second answer is yes. Why is that? I would say no, because not everyone is designed to get up on an actual platform and just teach the people. But because we are all in this together and we're all stardust or light beings or whatever you want to call it, we're all human, we're all trying to figure this thing called life out. We are all teachers. Every single person has someone that they can teach what they learned through their life to someone else. Every single person. So the true answer to this question is yes. We are all teachers. How you teach is what makes the no come to life. Some people are designed to sit in seats like myself and be a leader, so to speak, and come to these platforms or go to these events or go to these different opportunities and speak to hundreds of people or thousands of people. And then some people are meant to teach just their children. Some people are meant to teach just their family members or just their schools or just their companies and jobs and etc. So it just depends on how you express what you learn. But I want to tell you, honey, sweetie, sir, ma'am, you are definitely a teacher, even if you don't want to be. You don't have to sign up or go to school or any of those things. If you live this life, even one day, one day in this life, you are a teacher. You've experienced something from the eyes of your own perception, and that makes you different and unique in how you receive your journey. So therefore, you can share what you learned. That makes you a teacher. Okay. So yes, we are all teachers. I believe that we have to learn how to express what it is that we know. And that makes it a little more unique. So that's why my answer in the beginning was no, we're not all teachers, because some way of expressing what we know as a student and teacher, it all comes through how we do it. But I do believe that there are a lot of people that can get on any platform. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I am very honest and real, anyone can sit on any platform and tell their story. And in that space, you're going to be teaching someone. So I want to retract my no, and I want to say absolutely yes. We are all teachers, qualified to teach. We're all qualified to teach. We are. So I retract my no. We are. How you express it does matter, and who you express it to does matter. But I want you to know that you're a teacher. The second part of this question was, what should we know about being a teacher or leader? It's not easy. Okay. I'm going to tell you three things that you should know about being a teacher or leader. One, it's not easy. Okay. Two, you have to be a student of your own message. The moment you decide to share your experiences to someone else for educational purposes, even if it's your child, and you say, hey, I remember when I did this and this happened, you are now responsible for being a student to your own message and honoring what you learned as well, honoring what you know as well. So I want you all to keep that in mind, that as you continue to share your journey and share your truth, that you have to be a student of your own message. The biggest thing that I've learned in being a leader and being a teacher, so to speak, is that if I don't follow what I speak, that makes me a living lie. And I don't believe in lies. I believe that we should tell the truth no matter what. And that's one of the things you're going to find out about me in my book. So make sure you pre-order a copy of 7 Realms of Ascension, from Religious to Spirituality, because I break down a lot of truths that you don't know, but I trust and know that it will empower you to be honest with yourself about your journey. But I do believe that you should always be a student to your own message. We have so many false teachers out here. And I say false teachers because they don't practice what they preach. And I believe you should practice what you preach. I believe in love, unconditional love. So guess what? I'm going to practice unconditional love for myself and for others. I'm not going to judge you based off what you've done. I'm going to judge you based off what you ask. So if you ask me, I will tell you the truth according to what you're going through, not my perception. I have to be unbiased about my journey and not make it yours. And that's one of the things that I've learned. So making sure you're a student of your own message. The third part of this question is, what are some responsibilities and sacrifices of being a leader or a teacher? Whew. You don't sleep all the time. And I'm sure some of us don't sleep for other various reasons, whether it be medications, depressions, just life in itself. So we've all experienced the idea of not being able to sleep. But when you're a teacher, and you're a leader, you're constantly thinking about ways to improve those you love and improve those around you, the individuals around you. You're constantly thinking about how you can empower or inspire or lead the people that you know look up to you or follow you, even if it's just your children. Remember, you may not be a leader to hundreds of people or thousands of people, but if you have children, nieces, little cousins, little brothers, little sisters, you're literally a leader, especially if you're in a space for more than 24/7. Like if you're in a space consistently for more than seven, every day, even if it's just once a week. These kids are exposed to you that makes you a leader. They look up to you because they don't know life. So therefore they're gonna look to you because you are older and you're gonna automatically be deemed as someone they see. Even if it's 20 kids in a room, one of them will see you and they will identify with you. This is how real life is. We can all identify with each other. So that's another deal is making sure you understand that, as you are a leader, you have to always be willing to find ways to inspire and empower other individuals. And that can be mind boggling sometimes. So I believe in resetting my mindset. So I go out into nature on the water. I'll just sit in silence. I'll stay up a little later once the house is asleep. I'll just think to myself. I'll do whatever I need to do for my self care because I'm always thinking about how I can help other individuals, how I can be a better mom, better partner, a better teacher, student, even a better student. Like I said, I'm a student to my own message, but I'm also a student to other people's experiences. I learn from other people's experiences. So as I have my clients and I work with individuals and I help them build themselves up, I'm also learning from them. I'm learning what I won't do, and I'm learning, whoa, I don't need to do that. So I learn all the time, so I'm a student. Another responsibility or sacrifice is timing. So I just had a phone call from a brother in San Diego, California. I met him a few years ago, and he called me. He was like, I want to tell you, I'm just proud of you, and et cetera, et cetera. But the key thing he said that stuck out to me the most, he said, sometimes when you have somewhere to go, no one can hold you back. No one can stop you. You have to do it. And that's the responsibility. You have to do it. So being a teacher and a leader, you have to step into that element and rise. You cannot run from it. If you're designed to lead the people or lead you or lead other individuals or lead a group, a large group, I promise you, you are going to find yourself in a space where you are constantly giving of your time. You're constantly giving of your time. You're constantly giving of your time. So you're going to give a lot of your time away, and you'll find yourself constantly giving of your time to individuals. So this is why I encourage that if you are a leader or a teacher, that you find a way to support your lifestyle with some form of currency. So that in short terms, monetize your gift. I encourage you to monetize your gift because if you don't monetize your gift, you'll be giving of yourself and you won't have that much value. But I also want you to keep this in mind. Know the difference between someone who doesn't value you and someone who can't afford what you are, because that place will come up. Please be open. As an individual who helps individuals grow, who helps individuals identify with who they are and live their best life, it is imperative as a leader and teacher that you make room for those who may not be able to afford your services or who may not be able to afford anything that you have to give because they're in such a dark and low place. Impoverishment is real. Mental impoverishment is more real. So that's my top three is making sure you understand that, sometimes you'll have to give up your time. Sometimes you won't sleep, and sometimes you'll be challenged to constantly think about other individuals at all times. So that's question two. The third question I want to answer is really interesting, and I love it. And I want to answer this question. So it says, so this question is more for me and what I do. It says, what has been a consultant taught you about yourself? So what has been, like being a consultant, what has it taught me about who I am? And I want to say it lets me know that I have a job to do. Back to what I was telling you about the brother that called me from San Diego, California, who's been following my journey. I've had a pleasure to connect with him. Shout out to you, Eric Smith. And I just want to say, it ties into this. What have you been taught? When you have something to do and you have a purpose, you have a mission, There's no stopping you. You're not stopping. When he met me, I was working at a job. I was working for someone else. I had several people ahead of me. I was working in city government. So I was like the bottom of the totem pole pay, the bottom of the totem pole position. It was a great position, but it was very like not what I see myself doing for the rest of my life. And he met me when I was in that space. And in this question, this sister Alexis W. She used the term consultant, but I want to expand it a little further and use a more universal language. Instead of saying consultant, I want to say something like healer or empower. I empower individuals. And what have I learned by being an empowerment speaker, an empowerment leader? I've learned that if it's for you, it's for you. Go, do it. Sometimes people don't understand what you're here to do, and I'm okay with that. Sometimes people don't understand what I'm here to do. People tell me, like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. It's too early. It's too late. It's too large. Your mindset too big. But if I had listened to them in 2019, if I listened to them in 2021, if I listened to them in 2014, in 2016, even 2017, if I've listened to the people that didn't understand what I was, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I'm happy with myself. I don't care how much money, how much resources, how much I do or do not have, who I'm connected to, my following, my supporters. I appreciate everything that's been presented to my life, but I'm going to tell you one thing, I'm happy with me. I trust that everything that I'm doing is for the highest good of all those that are connected to me. I trust that I'm walking in alignment of what I am. I trust that if something happens to me, it's a divine order, it's divine reason because I am doing the best that I can in every moment that I live. I chose to serve the highest good. I submitted to the highest good. So I've learned as a consultant, working with individuals, working with companies, businesses, etc. I've learned that no matter what, as long as I am okay in doing what is right, I trust that everything that comes to my life is well. So it's allowed me to gain a deep trust with the universe, with the source, with the creator, with what you may call it God. Some, some of you may call God the creator, the universe, Buddha, Jesus, whatever you call this supreme source. We truly cannot fathom what it is because we have not experienced it physically with the actual face of this presence. We've only felt it. We've felt the presence of the Most High. We felt the presence of the Most Supreme, but we've never physically seen it. So therefore, I believe that being in this line of work, I've learned to trust that feeling no matter what, that discernment, that deep space. I've learned to trust it to the end of time. Okay? So that was my third question. My fourth question that I want to answer, it's it's I have so many options. Thank you all, by the way, to all the individuals that sent me some questions. I really appreciate you all. I appreciate you being a part of this journey with me. So thank y'all so much because I like have a list of questions and I'm just like picking and choosing. So my fourth question that I want to answer to you is, let's see. I just have this list and I pulled the top 11 questions off my list and I'm going to answer four. And the fourth question I want to answer is, what is your ultimate goal within your soul's journey through this realm? That was by Shalicia E. So thank you so much for that. What is your ultimate goal within your soul's journey through this realm? Let me take a sip of water. So, let's just breathe as I answer this question because this is a big deal and this is our first live. Like I said, I'll be coming to you with the People's Choice every Monday. So this is a big deal. So let's just take a moment of silence. I'm gonna close my eyes and breathe, okay? Okay. My ultimate goal within my soul's journey through this realm is to remind you of unconditional love. Excuse me, has been choked up, y'all. So but it's a big deal to me. It's a big deal for me. I want to remind you of unconditional love. And this is a long-winded answer, but I feel like it's needed for me to say this. I want to remind you of unconditional love because we live in a world where our love is conditioned and it's not pure. We have so many conditions. Oh, well, you did this to me yesterday. Well, you did that to me yesterday or last week or 4 years ago. We're holding grudges against individuals for things that happened so long ago that's no longer in the present moment. And I like to know that if I'm doing my best every day, I know I'm giving you my best every day. I know that I'm waking up to be the best version of myself every single day that I live, even through my chaos, even through releasing and ridding my space of traumas. No matter what I'm going through, I'm working every day to be my best self. Who am I to judge you for what you go through? You deserve unconditional love because life is a hot mess, a beautiful hot mess. Life is a beautiful hot mess. There's no one true way of living. If you think there is one way to be, you have been living in a box for so many years, and I encourage you to explore reality, the experiences of other individuals across this world. If you've had the privilege of meeting other individuals from other places in this country, in this world, I'm asking and urging you to ask more questions and make less statements. Ask more questions, make less statements. We ask no questions really. Very little questions. We're so quick to talk about ourselves and what we're doing and who we are and look at this and look at that. But how many questions have you asked those individuals from different places in this world? They have a different experience from you. And I'm 100% sure that by the time you finish talking to them, you're going to find out that there's more than one way to live this thing called life. And there's no one true answer but unconditional love, universal love, a love that cannot be qualified or quantified by man's ideologies or theories. So that is my ultimate goal within my journey, my soul's journey through this realm, is to remind you of unconditional love. You remember when you went through that hot mess situation and you got caught up in something, or you made the wrong move and something bad happened to your life, or you remember when you went through that trauma, or do you remember when you went through that bad situation, or whatever it is that you had to go through that made you suffer internally? May not have been a physical hit, a physical suffering, but you suffered in your mind. Every single human at some point in their life goes through some form of suffering, whether it's minute or huge. It's a suffering. It doesn't take away the fact that you suffered. Did you not want someone to be patient with you when you went through that? Did you not want someone to just take the moment and say, hey, let me just sit still. Let me just be still and just please show me grace, show me mercy. Just let me go through this. You remember when you were calling your girlfriends, your homies, you were talking to your children, your partners. You remember that. And you wanted someone to be patient with you. You simply wanted someone to show you unconditional love. So I'm challenging you and charging you to be also that person to show unconditional love to someone else. That is my ultimate purpose, is to remind you to have unconditional love. Stop being so hard. Get out of the matrix and unplug. You're constantly going on this hustle and bustle, and you're constantly moving every day. You got to go to work, clock in, provide this, send this, submit this email, this meeting, this. Listen, as an entrepreneur running 3 or 4 shifts at the same time, I understand what you're going through, but I also understand the power of unconditional love in every single human in this journey, no matter what title you carry. I don't care if you're the president of your country, down to the scum of your neighborhood, so to speak, meaning you're doing bad things. You deserve unconditional love. But there's one common denominator, and it's called the human experience. And we don't have all the answers. So you're going to stumble if you haven't stumbled already. And if I know life the way I think I know life, I know you've already stumbled. And I want you to remember when you were in your low space in your life, whether it was in your mind or if you were homeless, such as myself at one point in your life, if you were abused sexually, physically, mentally, verbally, if you were traumatized, if you had a bad car accident, if you went through a cycle where someone told you you were ugly, you were too fat, too skinny, if someone put pressures on you that you were so beautiful, you had to keep it that way, whatever your situation is, impoverished, if you don't even know impoverishment, you're disadvantaged. Those who have the ultimate idea of living free and well, even you deserve unconditional love because you don't know what it's like to be at the bottom, but you probably know what it's like to be at the bottom of your mind. So that's my ultimate goal is to remind you of unconditional love because I believe in humanity. I've seen several scholars, several gurus, several. We're talking about people like Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dandapani. I've seen several gurus, several people. If you have the app called Gaia, I've seen so many people talk about the idea of what is purpose. Humanity is a false identity. We're not who we think we are. All these different concepts of thinking, these philosophies, and these theories. I want to tell you one thing, and that's one thing for sure. You matter. You matter to me. I love you. You're so important. And you don't deserve to be in constant turmoil. Stop pretending. Unplug from the matrix. Take time to really dive deep into who you are. Discover you. I'm encouraging you to do that. If you're strong in what you believe, great. But I still think you need to explore life. Life is so much bigger than what you know. If you haven't had the opportunity to travel among the world, to travel to other countries, continents, cities, states. I've had the privilege to do that, and it will change your life. I have the privilege of traveling around this country. I have the privilege of traveling abroad. I've had the privilege of doing all of these things, and I want to encourage you to ask more questions to individuals you meet. When I'm in the airport, I ask questions. I connect with people, not because I want to be nosy, because I want to know more about life. Because knowing more about life does expand your mindset and empowers you to be more. It empowers you to be more than what you think you are. And I'm encouraging you. I'm encouraging you to discover more of you because you deserve to be your best self. And that's my message for today. So those are my 4 questions that I'm answering you. And I'm answering for the people. So thank you again to all those who have submitted questions to me over time. And I'm so excited about this journey. I'll get used to this because I'm coming for you every Monday. Every Monday. If you want to be on the list where your questions are submitted and I am answering your questions on this live, please do so. Please submit them to me. Again, you can text your questions to me 423-521-5848 or info@crowningyouressence.com. You can submit your questions to me. Why do you need to ask me questions? Because I've experienced this thing called life and I have a different intention than most people. And my intention is to remind you of unconditional love for yourself and others, to remind you to be happy with you, to remind you that you matter, to remind you that you have so much more to give than what has been conditioned upon your space. It makes me unique. I am unique, and guess what? You are too. You are so unique and you're beautiful. And I'm not talking about your physical presence. I'm talking about your essence. It's beautiful. Your true essence is light. You are brought and nurtured and cultivated in a womb. You were brought, nurtured, and cultivated in a womb. Light. You started from atoms. You started from cells. Okay? It's an energetic vibration. Really dive and discover who you are. So I'm speaking that you all enjoyed this live today. This is new for me. This platform is new. I'm excited to see myself grow in this space. I'm excited to have more of you be present with me. Today it was at 1:30. Moving forward, it will be at 12 o'clock. So we will have these sessions at 12 o'clock where I will answer questions provided to me by my followers and my supporters. And I will answer 4 questions to you every Monday until it's no more needed, right? If that makes sense. So until you feel like you had enough. But I know with the direction I'm headed, you'll never get enough because we never get enough because life is so unpredictable. And there'll always be questions. There'll always be questions. And I'll do everything in my power to stay up to date on providing you with answers that are logical, practical, they have truth, justice, reciprocity, honor, and love in them. I'll make sure I do the best that I can with my journey in my life. And I'm not perfect, y'all. I'm just really about the life of perfecting what I am. And it's not to be perfect, it's just to be a better me so I can help you better. The more I know, the better I can help you. So feel free to submit your questions. If you put questions on here, I appreciate that. I'm getting used to this platform, so I will go back and answer your comments or respond to your comments as I figure out this platform more. I'm very raw and authentic, and I'm okay with that. I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely about this life of perfecting what I am for the betterment of what I did, and that's I submitted to the highest good. I made a covenant between me and the source, the supreme most high, and I said, I'll serve all that is pure and true, and that's the light within you. I love you all so much. If you haven't already, make sure you go and pre-order Seven Realms of Ascension from Religion to Spirituality. I talk about the last 7 years of my journey in this world and what I went through to understand who I am, the different religions I explored, to really dive deep into the spiritual essence of my being, to come to a space to recognize that it's not about one deity or one identity of living. It's about having universal love no matter what you believe. So pre-order today. Go to www.crowningyuressence.com. Make sure you pre-order your copy today. Make sure you stay connected to me. Follow me on my social media platforms, Rosetta Empowers. Go and like Crowning Your Essence. You can also find me on Instagram, Rosetta Empowers, Crowning Your Essence. And I appreciate all of you for allowing me to be who I am. And for those who are constantly seeking who you are, I'm encouraging you to discover yourself. I love you. Peace be upon you. And until next time, I'll see you all soon. Peace.